welcome back to the BoonDocker Mod Shop. What we've got here is we have our turbos on the table. This is the next step in what we've been going. So if you guys remember, as we recap what we started, we brought in a 19 CanAm X3, strapped it to the dyno. We were able to get some baseline numbers, which were about 146 horse is what the stock numbers were getting at. We were pretty consistent right around 146. And then we started changing parts, seeing where we can free up some horsepower in this motor, where we can get this car to run better. So the first thing we did was clutching.
Yep.
We were able to get some of that power out of the motor to the ground. We were able to see that go from 146 horse to 154.
154, and you know, we brought those RPMs right up where they're supposed to be and then kept them real flat. Well, remember the stock weights kind of came up, plateaued out, and then they came up and then they kind of climbed up. And we realized our biggest horsepower gain right in that, 35 mile an hour mark, which is really just prime tuning.
Right.
A lot of tuning done right in there, right?
So what we did from there is from the clutching, we put our new Trident muffler on, which we've got the little parts where you've seen that. We've had that on the table. It's a really, really nice looking piece.
Mm-hmm.
The other part that we have with that is our race cat delete pipe, right?
Yep.
Gets rid of the restriction in there, lets everything flow freer, gets rid of some excess heat, everything like that.
Nice stainless mandrel bend all the way from the turbo right to the muffler.
Yep. Super nice pieces. With that muffler, I think we saw it was like, what, 4 horsepower?
Yeah, another 4 horsepower. Good surprise. Sounds good. You know, a little freed up a little more horsepower. It's awesome.
So from there, 158 horse, the next step. You guys remember we dealt with a little bit of heat soak. We were dealing with charge temps hotter than what we like to see. I think we were around 150 degrees almost.
Yeah, we got right up almost 150. We were high 140s, and then we let it sit. We lose horsepower the next run, like it heat soaked. Had a hard time getting it to cool back down.
We'd see that in the dyno graphs as well, right? It'd peak and come down.
Yeah, so we'd make good horsepower, and as the run went long, it would start to drop off.
Right. So that's when we dropped in our Diablo intercooler, which, as you can see, is much, much bigger than the factory piece. And what we were able to see on that, we saw almost 50 degrees drop.
Yeah,
run to run.
Well, we didn't break 100 degrees after that full on charge.
We were thumping on it.
Yep. We did at that point. We started to do some ECU stuff. We didn't do any engine tuning parameter changes, but we did turn the fans on, both the engine coolant radiator fan and the intercooler fan. And so big advantage there. We also watched the engine coolant temperatures on the dyno. We'd get about 3 runs, and then we'd be 200 and something degrees, have to let it cool off. After we turned the fans on, or when we wanted them to come on, we could run 6 runs back to back and never broke 200 degrees. So.
Which is awesome, because it's about 80 degrees here in the dyno shop. I mean, it's plenty warm in here as the weather's been nice for a change. So it's been super warm, but as we've seen all of that, which brought us to our next point, right? Obviously, we're putting these turbos on. So what we have right here is we have the factory turbo that we've just pulled off the car that we've been dynoing. The results that we saw on that, I think we were up to a little over 160 horsepower with the mods that we had done. We kind of did a little messing around and saw that there is some more horsepower that could be made in that. But to really make the big gains that we'd like to see, it's time to step up to our bigger turbos. So what we have here is we have our turbo that are made specifically for us. These are our BoonDocker Dominator turbos. So as you can see, they're 100% bolt-on. They've got the same cast manifold. Well, they have a cast manifold. As you can see, everything's a lot bigger. So we're bringing up the boost. We're moving a lot more air. Obviously, that air's got to have places to go, and that's where the size comes in. So.
Billet compressor wheel, bigger exhaust housing. We're going to move more horsepower through this motor. We're going to bring more air in. We've got to get that air out. We have to have a bigger exhaust housing. That's the advantage to going to an all bigger turbo rather than just going to a wheel replacement on this little guy. So really excited to add this to the new line of BoonDocker turbos. Bolts directly on. Pretty clean, pretty simple to put on. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to show you guys what it'll do on on this new 19 X3. Man, when it comes to fun in the sand dunes, it is all about horsepower straight up. We build a lot of horsepower. You go out there in a stock turbo car, and if you've been out there in a naturally aspirated car, you go out there in a turbo car, you will have the time of your life. And then when you find out that you can turn that turbo up, it just gets better. And it just doesn't stop there. I don't know that you can have too much horsepower on the sand dunes.
No, the horsepower, well, the sand dunes is the only place that I know of that you can always want more, and it doesn't matter what you're in. Obviously, we're close enough to the sand dunes. We spend a lot of time playing there. That's what we want to bring to our customers. We want to bring the ability to get the most out of the vehicle that you guys have. These side-by-sides now are so capable with the suspension and the horsepower right out of the gate. We're getting really, really close where we're starting to close that gap on people that are having the super high dollar sand cars where they were the only ones that could experience that kind of feeling and that kind of fun. And right now we're getting to the point that for the price, we're staying fairly competitive, I feel, which is an awesome thing for our customers. And that's the reason why we do what we do, right?
Yeah, the whole scene's changed. I mean, you go to the sand dunes, and this is what's out there. Big sand cars. A lot of the old big sand cars, they actually don't even compare. So, and it's a horsepower game. It is really where it's at. Horsepower, handling, suspension. This X3 handles like crazy good. It is amazing. So much fun. It's so neat to see where this market's gone in the last little bit. It's just awesome to be able to be a part of it and to be able to, to be able to bring more performance to it. It's what we love to do.